Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa. Today is 6:30, June 30th, 2026. This is episode 88. Some big decisions today in the Supreme Court. They rule against Donald Trump's birthrights. I think personally, it's a huge mistake to say illegals here got legal status by just being born here. I'm not talking about those people with protection statuses or who were brought here or refugees. Absolutely, those children are guaranteed. I see this actually as a win-win for Trump. He lost two major decisions, was the tariffs and this now. Those were two big voting points. But with this, nothing really changes. There is no major change. The people born here are born here. The people that weren't born here and have no status, they are still illegals and they get booted out. President Trump can now, say, hey, yeah, I wanted this. I think it's a horrible decision. I think that, this will hurt us, in the long run. But the children don't ground the parents here. The parents can take the children when they're deported with them or leave them here under some type of custodialship. And that's it. Trump still wins. It's a win-win for Trump. Not on the tariffs. The tariffs, that. And the way, just the way this went down, and I read it real quick. They just said that, we're using the verbiage in the Constitution, and that's it. And there has been, this has been an issue before in the past, and there are rulings that the Supreme Court can hinge down on, since this is the actual language. I mean, this isn't like Roe v. Wade or even the transgender issues in sports, which also was ruled today in favor of states. Where there is no language, and when there is no language about it, states can then set the standards. States can also make the standards greater. But for the most part, this is this isn't going to change anything again. The Supreme Court ruling today on birthrights does not change anything. It does not give anyone any more rights than they had before. Donald Trump had said that, that they don't have them, but nothing was really done with that. And children can leave voluntarily with their parents who do not have citizenship. And when they turn 18, they can come back. I think those with, again, I said it before, those with TPS, those with some type of standing to be here with notice by the immigration, those children definitely fell under the jurisdiction of the United States. There can be no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But the parents don't. So, the big problem is now that you're just going to have people coming over here and having babies. And we're going to be on the hook for it. And, until the government does something, unless the people fight and really say they want an amendment about it, That's never going to change. I think, like I said, I feel it was a inadequate ruling, not a bad ruling, but an inadequate. That it didn't take in the examples. Like I said, if you snuck into this country, it's like going into a bank, robbing it, and the bank not realizing they've been robbed. And because they went into the bank unnoticed, robbed it, and left the bank unnoticed, well, then there's no crime. They took the money, but there's no crime because no one caught them. It's much deeper than that, and I realize how fundamental. You're born here and that's it. But there's got to be restrictions. There's got to be some type of restrictions. If not, it's just going to be free for all. And that's my feeling on that. I think it was a very inadequate. But I would not say that it was unreasonable, just not adequate. I think the other rulings today on allowing states to continue to set the standards on transgender sports, since it's not mentioned in the good book, it falls to the states. And the states can do that. And the states can legislate that. That's, and then people can argue that goes against the First Amendment. That it doesn't. It doesn't. But it does allow states to have a say in gender-based sports. They and the last 8 years, women have been penalized for being women, and you can't have a woman boxer go against a Michelle Tyson because he's going to put a wig on and now say I fight like a woman, I feel like a woman, I am woman, and it's just that's not right. That's not right. And I think states do have to protect the integrity of sports. Just because a woman can play sports doesn't mean she can play competitively against men. And, I'm sure there are some women that could definitely compete against, men, but I'd find very few that could be a linebacker or, not maybe a quarterback, but the team has the right to say, yeah, we'll take that person or not take that person. It's good for the team. It's not good for the team. Today's ruling about transgender restrictions by states was affirmed. They can do it. And if a state like California want to have women in it, well, that's great. Those women might not be able to compete in states where they go, no, you can't compete. So this will blow up again and this won't go away. But the Supreme Court has made the decision, and it will be hard for people to fight that in federal court. It's been ruled. The other interesting one was Supreme Court struck down a regulation that limited political committees' coordinated funding of federal candidates. And it's not funding, it's expenditures. What was allowed to be spent and how. These were costs involved with having a candidate run, travel expenses, legal fees, normal expenditures in the course of getting a candidate out there. And what the Supreme Court ruled was that it was an infringement of their First Amendments, the political speech, that if he can't get the money to go out there and do it, he's being limited. Kind of balance on that one. If he's not getting the contribution amounts, then people don't want to hear him or her. But now it can come in from different angles. So now in 2026, it goes for a person running in Congress can go from $65,000 to $130,000, whereas the 2026 was $130,000 to $4 million for Senate. Now those things are kind of gone by the wayside. There are, you have to account, and I mean, there's still accountability. And you have a lot of Democrats, people saying, no, it takes away the idea of accountability. And I'm like, well, they always had accountability, so, you got to do your due diligence. The Supreme Court ruling today on the birthrights, that's the one that hurts. That's where people wanted to see the change. The tariffs, yeah, and that's still out there. There's still a lot of debate, even though the Supreme Court, now it's how it gets rectified, because you're in unknown territory. I still thought with that the way the president did the tariffs, he declared an emergency so that he could institute another clause allowed under that emergency. And that was kind of not shady. But, normally if the United States was attacked, we had, now I can go in, I could set tariffs, I can do this, I can take over that responsibility of the Congress. So he used the invasion of 30 million people, across our borders as an emergency. He called, said, I'm declaring a national emergency. And by doing so, that automatically triggers his ability to do other things. And, just declaring the emergency and saying what it was, I mean, if it was terrorist attacks, if it was, we had a war declared on us by Iran. No, they technically did. You might be able to get there. But normally you'd have to have the Congress declare war on Iran. And then that becomes a whole different ballgame. And none of that was done. And none of that really met the bar. You could try to get through the door with that, but you're going to get a lot of resistance from either side. Because remember, when one side does it and it gets the okay, at some point in time, the other team's going to get to do it. And you might not like it. And, but then it's done. It's vetted. It's, you can go back, but you're not going back that quickly. Mostly with the justices sitting there to go, yeah, we screwed up. You might have to wait for a whole new set of justices to go in there and they go, yeah, they got it wrong. Yeah, they got it wrong. So, there are, you have Clarence Thomas that wants to see, things changed. He said this ruling made 66 years ago was a bad ruling. And in one matter. And you could look back and that might be his parting shot to go back there and bring it in there and kick it around. But I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. But the ruling today, that's, and again, the birthright was a win-win for Trump. And I say that because, again, and I'll reiterate what I've said previously too in other of my podcasts where I talked about this 14th Amendment, was that Trump gets to say, hey, I wanted this. I fought for this. I took this to where no one has taken this before as a president. And the Supreme Court made a horrible decision, and but we have to live with horrible decisions sometimes, and this might be one of them. I think this was a very bad decision. I'm not happy, but I did more than try. And he can then go on and go, yeah, I lost it. Yeah, bad decision. But he got elected by it, so he's already in power. And he's not running again. And whoever runs as a Republican can distance themselves from this a bit. I don't think Vance can distance himself that far from it. But he could say, hey, we tried. He goes, I'm the vice president. I think it was a bad decision. But that's the decision. That's the way our system works. We can fight it. We can fight it. We can fight it. We can take it to the courts. Boom, boom, boom. But once it hits that top level, that's it. Done. And maybe 20, 30 years from now, someone else takes a look at it. But it's not going to happen, in my lifetime. This is not going to be revisited. Unless there's an amendment put out there to say, that specifies and breaks down what the meaning of everything is. And I just don't see that happening. I don't think anyone has the strength to do it again. I don't think anyone has the fortitude to do it again. And people might say, hey, you tried. We're not jumping on that bandwagon again. And Trump can go out there and say, hey, I'm the only president that stood up to that. And I know it's wrong. You know it's wrong. They know it's wrong, but they voted for it anyway. So I'm not happy with them. If I could fire them, I'd fire them. He'll go through his song and dance. But in the end, no one's going to lose the election because of it. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And, the Democrats can't claim a win here because the Supreme Court doesn't run on the political system. And again, this just proved it. As did other cases that they've found. This proves it. And this was a 6-3 decision. It is what it is. It is what it is. I think it's, personally, like I said, I think they could have looked at it, but they didn't want to carve into it. And they could have, the 14th Amendment, now I'll be removing the intent of that book. So that book will be put to the side because it's no longer germane. The courts ruled. And as a constitutionalist and as a federalist, that's it. That's it. It's done. You either believe wholeheartedly in the system or you're, to me, an anarchist. So I believe in the Supreme Court. I believe in their abilities. They can be subjective, and they did. And that's it. You just move on, and you accept what they've done, and you go to another battle if you have a battle. So this is the way it basically works, and I'm going to keep this show short. As you know, I haven't been feeling good, and I've been trying to limit. I will have this show, and yes, the other show that I did, that is on my live. If you look live, you'll find it, but it's not on my playlist yet. All right, everyone, please give to a charity. Make sure it's a real charity, and it's your choice. And don't become a victim trying to help victims. Give to a food bank. They need help, and it helps locally, and you can actually help people, and that food is going to go out to people who are needy, and without judgment. Without judgment. Say a prayer. Prayer does work, no matter what a Democrat might tell you. And please, if you like, please subscribe, or at least comment. So, Robert in New York, you were supposed to call me, and you didn't. And I reached out to you a couple of times. How dare you, sir? How dare you? All right, everyone, be safe, be good, be well as I fade to black.